This will be the outdoor portion of the walk around and cold start video of the 1972 BMW Bavaria. Apologize for the abruptness of the ending of the last video. Must have tapped something on the phone. It's maybe nature's way of telling me to shut up already and move on. So here we are now outside. Just pushed the hood down, pushed her out. So we will try to quickly revisit everything that I discussed at length in the first video, and now we will get the full go around of the car, just to again show how consistent everything is, and I'll get right to those few spots that were pointed out before. There is the spot on the left rear quarter. See, it's a lot less pronounced out in the daylight. Here is the trunk. Here is the roof. And here are those two spots that I pointed out in the other video. That's the dent, that's the touch-up, and the couple of soft ones that are in the driver's front door are less visible now than they were under the garage lighting. There are a couple that I mentioned pointed out before, and the little bit of dirt in the paint is really now almost impossible to see. If you recall, there was a horseshoe pattern here somewhere. Really hard to tell out in the daylight. That's why I wanted to show it specifically inside. Outside, it really looks like a freshly painted car. It's really excellent presentation. All of the bright work, again, to reiterate, is in fantastic condition. Almost all original seals, just the windshield seal was replaced. And there is that very light, very soft dent with touch up there. There's one just ahead of the driver's door handle. It's hard to make out. And then, as I mentioned earlier, here is again the go around. I'd mentioned a little bit of haze in the front bumper, and here it is. It's this small section, and again, you have to kind of look at it. You have to see it at an angle. It's right there. I don't know, this is maybe 4 or 5 inches. So rest of it is really pretty incredible. Really clean. The original US license plate holder is included, goes with it. So I started to talk about a section under the hood that was similar to the section in the trunk. So we'll go ahead and open the hood back up. Oh. Hood pad set, recently redone. The E3 is pretty much unobtainium, so we had to put together a set from I believe it was part E24, part E9. So if you look at certain angles, you'll see that the two outer upside down teardrop sections are just a little bit darker than the main center section, but for the most part, it's a much better look than what was there before. All the pieces before were just awful. They were dried, cracking. Every time you'd hit a bump, they would fall into the engine compartment, so that was no good. But here's the worst section of the hood, and as I'm looking at it on the camera, on the phone, it's much worse on the camera than it is in person. This is probably, it's really almost all surface. It's, again, just like, it's all very solid. Nothing is crumbling, nothing is flaking. This is pretty much all surface. So if the next caretaker wants to touch that up or sand it down, it is definitely not through. Underneath is solid and smooth, and same, there's nothing on the outside, just a handful of touch-ups from the larger chips, but it really is just in generally excellent condition. Much lighter version over here. The majority of this is just kind of staining, but again, everything is solid. It's hard to knock all the way through. It looks much worse than it is, but it's really only just in the bend areas. The area just ahead of the radiator is just some chipping. Again, this area could be touched up. I did not want to do so. I did not want it. I wanted the car to be presented as honestly as possible. So, and here's that other section I alluded to of original padding. Again, this is just incredible here. How solid everything is. The channel, everything is just in fantastic shape. The side as well. All the headlight areas, extremely clean. Front area where all the vents are, the cutouts. Everything is just absolutely super solid. Now that we're outside, I'll go ahead and I'll open up all the doors, get a more natural look of the interior, the carpeting, the seats. Dash, headliner. Door jambs, and this is the area I was describing earlier in the other video. You've got just very light chipping from, again, probably the seatbelt hanging down and getting shut in the door. These are just tiny little gnat-sized chips. The other side was a little bit worse, so that's why we decided to touch that up. It's more used, obviously, but it's all very light stuff. It can easily be touched up with the provided touch-up paint. I did not want to try to cover any of this stuff up, but that's the worst of it around the car. So here's the back seat, the back of the front seats, and the back seat itself. Rear deck, really in outstanding condition, and the center armrest. Just fantastic condition. Door panels on this side. Recently replaced section on the ashtray as well. That's been redone. Dash has already been discussed, but really just overall excellent original condition. If I can use that term for a car that has been repainted once, as far as we know. Tires of Redestein, all season Grand Touring. They have late 21 date codes, and you can see they have the frillies still on them, pretty much full tread. They've maybe got 250 miles on them. So wheels were redone, Alpina center caps are new, lugs have all been polished, just to kind of round out the presentation. You can see fit and finish, gaps, everything. It's just fantastic. Trunk. Again, the areas discussed and pointed out at length. And these panels were all removed, repaired, and re-dyed. And the center portion and the glove box, I'm sorry, the tool kit shown in pictures. Go ahead and pull back. So got pictures showing all of this, but so we will go ahead and fire up. Wanted to show our ambient temp, outside temp. That's a little warm, 90 degrees. It's not quite that out here. It's maybe about 80 degrees, but just to show you, we'll run back into the garage real quick. Show you where it's been sitting for about a week or so. It is pretty cool in here. .66 degrees in the garage. And here's the wheel pads that I have under the front, under the rear. Everything is clean. Try to be as vigilant as possible, especially given all the work that was done getting everything mechanically squared away. So now we'll take the temp reading the engine. There's the block. We're at 73 on the block. And the valve cover, 69 on the valve cover, 68, that's aluminum, so that stayed more in line with the exhaust. It's a little bit warmer. So you can see the different metals kind of hold the temperature differently, but it's cold. Like I said, it hasn't been running about a week. Go ahead and get everything lit up. Neutral. You can see the brake switch, and we will give her a couple pumps, and she will hopefully fire up. There you go. Obviously, no temp whatsoever. Fuel tank is full. It's got 39 miles on the tank since being refilled. And you will see it is gonna go into a high idle for a bit on her own. I've got no foot on the gas. And we've got her set up for manual kickdown, which I prefer. That way it's warm. If it's cold, get to make the call. You can watch the gauge move. I'm going to go ahead and roll the window up, bring this door shut. And you can see the difference between outside and inside. In spite of the age of the seals, it's pretty quiet in here, considering we're at 2,000 RPM. Again, not on the gas. So, good time to show you a little bit more of the interior. So here is a little bit of splitting in this braided inside seal, but other than that, it's really pretty good. Showed that back section earlier. The original sun visors still have their striping in them, the original material. The side as well. Grab handles and the dome light, which also comes on, off, or to the door setting. Again, that interior of these headrests were touched up. Everything pretty smooth. Try to keep extra hand towels in case there's ever issue of sopping anything up, getting caught in the rain or whatever the case may be. Again, clock keeping time. Valve pump radio that we had installed. Nuremberg. We'll demonstrate that once we kick down from high idle. So we're a little above 2 at this point. So we'll just give her a little bit of a kick down. She's down just a little bit below, about 1250 or so. She'll sit here for a little bit. May come down on her own, may require another kick down. See, starting to get a little bit of temp. Water temp. We'll go ahead and walk around outside, listen to the engine, the exhaust. Some of the linkage that has been replaced in the tuning process. Top linkage, bottom linkage, see all the hose clamps. Under the carbs. Bit, getting close to 1,000. There is a spare fuse box door as well. Will be shown. And now we're getting a little under 1,000 as she continues to warm up. Pull the antenna up.
Memorial Day weekend rock and roll 500. Drivers, start. 2 grams of calories and a taste that has no bitter endings. Let's see who wins.
And if you're looking for
Intermittent. Low. High. Down to a nice smooth idle now. Again, water temp continuing to come up. Generally doesn't get much above a quarter. Even on the hottest days, I've had it out at almost 100 degrees, sitting there idling. Cooling system is just fantastic. Exhaust system back of the headers is basically one resonator, then the performance exhaust. It's got a nice sound to it. Every time I think about putting in something a little more docile, I take it for a drive, and it's just hard to do without. It just sounds fantastic. Hope you've enjoyed the presentation. I'm gonna go ahead and pull her out and get some driving in. Thank you much.